Hello everyone, welcome back to, well, another spoiler. The spoiler for Opus 20. It's a card which, on first impression, doesn't seem to make that much of a splash, but actually, its effects are not too bad, and it has some interesting stats about it. The card I get to reveal to you is Behemoth, a 2CP lightning monster with the text, when Behemoth enters the field, choose one forward that is 7,000 damage, and then pay 2 lightning dull and put Behemoth into the break zone, choose one damaged forward, break it. Now, unlike the Behemoth from last set, there are 2 actually, this is a generic card, so you can play 3 of it, but what is interesting about this card is that, obviously, it's in Lightning, but Lightning traditionally has been very specific about things that you can deal damage to or break or whatever, whereas this card, for 2 CP, you can deal any forward, including your own, 7,000 damage. And actually 7,000 damage is a little bit above the curve for a 2CP a card. Normally, you know, 5 or 2CP cards, I mean, if you think like stuff like Brynhilda maybe, deal 5, maybe 6k. So to deal 7 outright to anything is actually pretty decent. And then obviously it's got the additional ability as well to pay 2 and put it into the break zone. So it can become an outright break as well. The one problem there is the fact, obviously, you need to make sure that the forward can be dealt damage and can be targeted by abilities and, you know, all that great stuff. But yeah, either way, it's actually, I quite like this card just because it deals 7k outright to any forward, and yeah, it's a little bit above curve, which is unusual for Lightning to get something that's actually not restricted. Anyway, in true card combo fashion, let's talk about some of the cards that it works well with. So anyone that knows me well enough knows how much I love Realm, and yeah, it just fits nicely into Realm. So obviously you play Realm to the field, you get to play monsters of, a monster of 1 and a monster of 2. And obviously Behemoth covers the monster of 2, so you can bring something like Yagudo onto the field. So set its power to 4,000 and Behemoth deals its 7k, so that should kill said forward. Now obviously, it could be a case that the forward has damage reduction abilities. Maybe they've got something like Yuzuki where it, you know, takes less damage or whatever. But ultimately, you know, setting it to 4k and then 7k, even with damage reduction, unless it's getting reduced to 0, it should hopefully still kill that forward. And then you also got Iron Giant as well. So you play Behemoth and Iron Giant onto the field. That's a total of 10k just for playing Realm onto the field. Iron Giant can also become a forward as well. There are other monsters you could play that are 1 CP that work nicely, but with Behemoth to, you know, top up the damage, there is the Bomb, which you can put into the break zone to then deal 5k. So, you know, it's a total of 12k damage as well, which Behemoth, Bomb, that's not too bad, but I went for Iron Giant just because it also can become a forward, which is fine. So yeah, be able to deal 10k just from playing Realm onto the field. And that's another thing, actually, to be fair. You play Realm to play Behemoth, Behemoth kills 1 forward, Iron Giant enters, hits another forward, you then use Behemoth to then kill that other forward. Mira, so this is the Opus 20 spoiler from a few weeks ago. I really like this card because it focuses on 2 of my favourite aspects of this game. Lightning, because it is ultimately my favourite element to play, it's a shame that it sucks, and monsters, which are, you know, becoming more and more prevalent because they're a real pain to have to deal with. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'll talk about Mira because some of you might not have seen her already. But when an opponent's forward enters the field, you may pay 1 and discard 1 monster. When you do so, break that forward, and then put monster into the break zone, play Mira onto the field dull. You can use ability during your turn, and if Mira is in the break zone. So yeah, obviously you can discard Behemoth to use Mira's effect when something enters the field, or you can just put him into the break zone after playing one to the field to then bring Mira onto the field. You could be in something like Lightning Water perchance even, to have Realm to bring in Behemoth, then put one of the monsters, maybe Behemoth, into the break zone to then bring Mira onto the field as well. But yeah, I really like Mira as a card as well. I just wanted to show off this card, and it's also very pretty. Go-Go! So yeah, Behemoth, you can pay 2 lightning, dull, put Behemoth into break zone, choose 1 damaged forward, break it. With Go-Go, you get to choose 2 damaged forwards and break them. Now in Ice Lightning, there are a couple of ways of dealing damage to multiple forwards, but most of them are kind of expensive. There's a couple of cheaper ways of doing it. One would have been the 1 CP Raiden, or Raiden, however you want to pronounce it, which deals 1,000 damage. 1,000 or 2,000 damage to all the active forwards your opponent controls, but the problem with that is it requires your opponent's forwards to be active to hit them. So I went for Dash. So damage 3 when Dash attacks, deal 2,000 damage to all the forwards your opponent controls. Now again, you have to have Dash on the field and then attack with him, which yeah, probably might not happen. But ultimately, if that does happen, you can then use Behemoth to break a forward. Go-Go then copies that effect to then break the other forward. Dash also works nicely with Go-Go because at damage 5, you put Dash into the break zone, you get to kill something, Go-Go copies that, kills something else. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I went for Dash. But there are a few different ways of dealing damage to multiple forwards, and having Behemoth and Go-Go copy that effect as well. Mirror. So put Mirror in, or sorry, play Mirror onto the field to then play your Behemoth from the break zone onto the field. And this is again talking about how Behemoth actually has a pretty decent amount of damage considering its cost. You know, 2 CP to deal 7k, that kills a lot of forwards in the game. Yeah, I mean, most forwards these days that get played a lot are either pretty small because of really good effects, so stuff like Lulu, for example, but then all the other forwards are a bit higher, do tend to be around 9k, 10k, unfortunately, so Behemoth can't quite kill them in that. Well, he can, because you can use additional effects, and actually play Mirror onto the field to get Behemoth out to then pay the 2 lightning to then break said forward might not be the worst either. So Behemoth does have means of killing smaller forwards and bigger forwards. It's got a lot of versatility there, and yeah, you only have to be in a couple of points of damage to play Mirror to then get Behemoth onto the field. Tiamat. So yeah, I was just trying to think of ways that you can keep on recurring Behemoth back to your hand reliably without having to recast summons or stuff like that. And Tiamat's the only one I could come up with, and it's not a played card because it's, you know, you have to be able to attack with it to bounce something back to hand. But if you do, you get to bounce back any character you control. So yeah, when he attacks 2 on character you control, you may return to his own hand. Now obviously I could have gone for Althea, but I don't know, it just felt a bit too obvious. So yeah, attack with Tiamat, put Behemoth back in your hand, you can play it back onto field, deal 7k to something. So yeah, just a reliable way of keep on dealing 7k to a forward. And again, one of the reasons I'm going to go for Althea is because Althea will be bouncing other things back to your hand, probably like Lulu's or whatever. But you know, Lightning Wind, it's not a very heavily played element duo. So yeah, attack with Tiamat, put Behemoth back in hand, play it back onto the field, deal 7k to something. That hopefully didn't lock and die to Tiamat, but yeah. But there we go, folks. That is Behemoth. It's a really interesting card. I'm going to go back to it soon to see it and get rid of my stupid subscribe thing. But yeah, I really like this little card because, I mean, it's evidence of power creep, right? Indicative of that because 1, it's lightning but doesn't have the restrictions, but 2, it's also hitting above curve. Not too bad. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. I want to say a massive thank you to the guys at Final Fantasy, at Square Enix, and Alec. Welcome to the FFTCG. I mean, that side of the desk for the FFTCG fandom, anyway. Yeah, I really do appreciate getting these opportunities to do spoilers like this, and it's always nice to get something that may not seem too special on the outside, but actually it's, you know, some interesting facts there about it. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. Stay safe, be lucky, and I will see you in the next video.